Hi guys, Bugo here. This is Paul. Just a few months ago, he was working a 9 to 5 as a regular software engineer. But in reality, it was more so a 7 to 7 because they forced him to be back in the office while leaving his wife and kids at home. So Paul was experiencing unpaid overtime, days lost with the commute, nights lost with the jury ticket, and unpaid income, plus working on meaningless software. Fast forward a few months, and Paul completely flipped the script. He now works on whatever he chooses to work on, whenever he wants to work. Furthermore, he does it async, remotely, and he doesn't have to rely on an employer to make his income. And best of all, he doesn't have to have any sleepless nights, he doesn't have to miss any dinners, and he makes more than he previously did. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how Paul did what he did, such that you too can do the same thing. Let's get straight into it. So Paul, go ahead and just introduce yourself for everybody.
Hello there. I'm Paul Senzi. I have been a senior software engineer for the last 5 years, but I have about 10 years of experience. I worked at several companies. One was Fidelity Investments. Another one was called Message Broadcast. So I have a lot of experience in software development and financial services. But I don't love the financial services, so I'm finally out of there, and I'm really happy about it. So,
Well, that's good to hear. I remember when we first talked, you did voice your, let's call it discontent, to say the least, I guess. We can choose other words, but we'll go with that.
I was certainly ready for something new. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, most definitely. Paul, how long has it been since you've been part of C2C now? I think you joined
Uh, well, depends
six,
on
7 months ago.
if we count when I actually joined or when I was just messaging you on the side, and you were gracious enough to talk to me, even though
Oh,
I
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
signed up
yeah.
yet.
That's,
That was
yeah,
at
there
least
was
like
that.
2 or 3 months.
Yeah, yeah, and then there was that like 3 month gap that
Yeah, we, well,
a
we
little bit
we
more.
could discuss the gap. It'll be a part of there. So yeah, I think technically I started in January, but we had been talking back in last October, November, where I was basically ramping up. I had already formed my LLC
Mm-hmm,
and was ready to go, whether you were coming along or not. So,
mm-hmm.
but I didn't have any direction. So that's what I ended up joining for because I needed that direction and that mentorship. Otherwise, I was like, I can figure this out on my own. It's not a
I
big deal.
think it was like
But
January, but then I think we officially started like 3 to 4 months ago once that period was over, and I think we had
oh
like a
yeah,
1 year refresh.
so yeah, I had joined C2C back in January, and then I took a 3 month hiatus in the sense that I had found this job opportunity that ended up not being a job opportunity and was actually a big scam, and I lost a lot of money. So then we had to turn that around and actually build a business instead of trying
Yeah,
to
so
make
you
money
definitely
quick.
had a motivation, so to say.
Yeah.
They have a term, it's a little bit crude, but they say lit a fire under one's ass, right? That's essentially what it is when you have no other choice. But
Yeah, and then also the back to office mandate
oh yeah, I remember that
was
too when they required
impending
you.
as well.
Okay,
So
yeah,
we kind
that
of we had two fires. We had
two
several
fires. It
fires
was
getting
good. It was good.
started.
It was a fun period. It was a fun time. I remember those days. Paul, I guess tell me a little bit about why you even wanted to join Code to CEO and what was your life like before joining? And when I say life, I don't mean like, to the nitty gritty detail, but just in general, the before and after type of thing, like main differences.
So probably the last like 4 or 5 years, I had been working from home. I had moved back to my home state when
Mm-hmm.
my wife and I decided to have children, and it was fine working from home, but it was also um, it kind of impacted how we lived our life. Just how I was just always working on the computer, and then also having family life, which I still do now, but before it was very rigid. Um, right now, it probably should be more rigid, but right now it was very rigid. It would start work around 8, get off usually around like 5 or 6, have like a little bit of in between. So it was definitely very peachy. It was not too bad, but I was also just very bored at work. I had become the tech lead of one project where I had worked on it for about a year, and I just kind of had enough. They put me on a new team, and I was just like, all right, I don't know. I got to figure something out. I'm not even working with the people that I had been working with before. So I like knew those guys personally because I worked with them like in the office probably like 6, 7 years ago. So then I had no more ties basically to the company because I was basically hanging around because I liked the people that I worked with. But then I was working with people I didn't particularly like as much. So that was kind of the golden handcuffs for me. It wasn't like a huge salary, but it was really just I really enjoyed working with the people that I was working with. So I wanted to start something new. I wanted to start a business. I always kind of had that in the back of my mind. I just didn't really know where to get started. So that was basically it. I won't go into detail about working 2 jobs at once, but I was a tech
We
lead
don't
on
need to. Yeah.
I was a tech lead on 2 different projects for 2 different companies at one point in time, and
Yeah.
that became. I kind of understood like this is what the grind looks like. So I knew how to grind for money, but at the end of the day, as soon as you stop grinding, you have nothing to show for it.
Even back when I was doing the 9 to 5, there was a few individuals that were doing that actually. I mean, paid good enough, but yeah, that was an actual grind. So, tell me a little bit about. You mentioned you always wanted to do a business. Did you have any doubts or like hesitations before joining?
Yes and no. I had started a business probably like 3 years prior to joining, but it was mostly website SEO and stuff like that. I would build out websites, get them ranked, and then try to sell them to people. So if I never got to the point of selling the leads to anyone, and that was kind of what terrified me, even though it would have been easy because if I had leads coming in, it's not very hard to be like, give me some money for these leads. So I had like that business in the back of my mind of like, okay, I know how to build products, I know how to build software, but I don't know how to sell. So that was my
Gotcha.
biggest scare point, I guess. I guess I wasn't always afraid, but as I became a software engineer, a senior software engineer over 10 years, I always pushed back from getting into management. I never wanted to be in management, so I never really got those
Sales skills down.
different skill set, and so it kind of scared me off a little bit. And I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, basically the sales was kind of scared me the most.
So what made you still decide to join? I mean, how did you go overcome that?
I probably have to give it up to you in some sense. You kind of just were friendly and put in some effort to not string me along, but you had put in effort to keep the conversation going, even though I hadn't joined yet. So it's kind of like that was one main thing. And also, I just was looking for mentorship. So I figured if I was able to join a group of other software engineers that are building businesses, that would probably just be a win-win situation. I can't lose. Worst comes to worst is that I just pack it up and go get a new job, and it is what it is. So it's kind of didn't really have anything to lose other than a little bit of time and energy.
No, I think it's a powerful point to bring up because I think if more people had that mentality of there's really nothing else to lose, worst comes to worst, you don't like it or whatever, it's not your cup of tea, you go back to what you were doing. But at least give it a try, right? And
Yeah,
this is
certainly.
even without mentorship, with mentorship doesn't matter. Even on your own, at least just give it a try one time because the risk of not trying is way greater than the risk of trying. I guess following up on that, Paul, what would you say was your biggest breakthrough or transformation that you've experienced? Now, this can be like an actual result-based transformation, or it can be sort of like mental and thinking transformation or belief-based transformation.
Yeah, sure. So I haven't really talked about this, but I'm a man of faith. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe in all of that. And that's kind of what pushed me into the entrepreneurial route, because if you're able to own a business and you're able to grow it, you're able to have a greater impact on other people's lives. And that's really why I wanted to start the business.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I ended up getting into that scam also, because I was like, oh, this is going to be easy money, so I'm going to be able to help others out, because that was always my intention, was to help others out along the way, not just looking to make a ton of money and spend it lavishly. I don't spend too much money. Well, if you saw the house I lived in, you'd say I spent a lot of money, but otherwise not so much. But other than that, that's really what drove me to I wanted to build a business for my family, for others, and be able to help others out. The breakthrough moment for me was when I had joined BNI Group, and I actually got to talk to other business owners, and it's like, oh, these are just like people, and you could just talk to them. Whereas before in my mindset, it was just kind of like, okay, I'm a software engineer. All I could do is code, and that's kind of all I could do. And I'm going to build some stuff for some people that paid me money to do it. And I was kind of what I'm still doing now, but I own the outcomes. I own the code for the most part, depending on what project it is. But yeah, that was the biggest breakthrough, and just getting like my first sale, even though it was $100 a month subscription for something really silly, but but still, it was like, okay, this is my first money that I made as a business, not as an employee. And then obviously I got the bigger contracts that came in, a couple contracts that were worth 10,000 plus. So
you had a very eventful journey, I think. I think out of most of the students, you probably had the, when they say, oh, I'm going to have a story for the kids.
Yeah, I got stories.
Yeah, you definitely got stories, that's for sure. That's for sure. It was
I don't know if we'll go into great detail here, but
yeah,
there's plenty of stories.
No,
if anybody hears this and wants to hear some stories.
For now, we could just keep it casual. But I mean, along that route of, because I think you did mention it, at least most of the people that mentioned it were, they thought, okay, I'm a software engineer, all I can do is code. And then they realized, wait a minute, business owners are just regular people. I can go talk to them. And hell, even sometimes they see me as the authority. Because what most people, because you did the BNI, you also did Chamber of Commerce, I believe. You joined Chamber of Commerce too. What most people said when they joined the BNI or Chamber of Commerce, they said, I didn't expect the business owners to be more interested in me than I was in them. Because they're like, oh, wow, like you're a software engineer. What's to talk about AI, this and that. That's what also most people didn't quite understand, is that, wait, they're regular people, I can go talk to them, and they're also interested in me. Outside of that, what would you say surprised you the most about the journey? Before and after Code to CEO, or during, I guess you should say.
What surprised me most was how easy it is to sell when you actually provide the value. Because I tried to sell to a couple people without really understanding like the value of what they were trying to achieve, and it didn't go so hot. There was an insurance company that I was trying to work with, and I was trying to sell them like this knowledge-based thing. This was kind of like my own idea based on the input that I received from her. She was saying that they were having trouble with communication and being able to do like research on insurance and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, I could build something up for you here. It only costs you like $10,000, blah, blah, blah. And she's just like, yeah, I'll have to think about it. I know she had the money. She could have easily have paid for it, but the solution I was providing was not what she particularly wanted, or possibly the industry didn't want. She was kind of more old school, but also, yeah, so it was interesting. So then just really figuring out those pain points and understanding them and kind of speaking their language has been a game changer, because now when I joined the BNI group after joining Code to CEO, I learned how to actually talk to these people. Whereas before I was still talking mostly technical, not too bad, not too technical, but it was enough to just for them kind of their eyes to glaze over, or
Mm-hmm.
kind of just like get bored with the conversation. So it's kind of getting that skill set to communicate properly with these business owners. That was probably the biggest hurdle. I still tend to go back to technical jargon sometimes, but I try not to as much, depending on the business, especially like roofing and construction. They're just kind of like, what are you talking about? So I try to, it depends on the size of the business, but even still. Yeah. So then the other one was property management software. And I kind of put myself out there in some on LinkedIn, and did some cold outreach to a guy that was asking questions. We got in touch with each other. We ended up talking, and then I sold him on the call within 15 minutes, and I didn't even have anything. It was just like, oh, I know how to solve that problem for you. And he's like, all right, how much is it going to be? I told him a number, and within literally 1 second, he was like, done. So I definitely undersold myself, but
Yeah, we
I was like,
talked
oh,
about
the
that usually.
solution probably could have been double or triple the amount that I had quoted him for. But I kind of figured, okay, what he needs is, it would probably only take this amount of time for me. It'd only take a month, so I'll only charge this much. So that was kind of, it wasn't really value based. It was more time based for me on my one of my first sales. So
I guess let's dive deeper into those results. So you've achieved quite a bit already, and I know you're on a track to doing even more. I have no doubt about that. But I want you to tell me a little bit about the asymmetry of it, with regards to the amount of work you're putting in, the effort you're putting in, what you're getting out of it, as opposed to back in your 9 to 5 days. Talk a little bit as well about, for example, that LinkedIn conversation. I remember we were discussing, you like, when you sent the DM, you weren't expecting anything to come out of it. And all of a sudden, he hops on a call, you sell it to him, no objections, you don't have a product, and you're kind of like, what just happened? Right? You're kind of like,
yeah,
okay.
that was that kind of threw me through a loop, because I'm like, sounds easy now after that
Mm-hmm.
conversation. It's not always going to be that easy, obviously, but usually it'll take a little bit more back and forth. But so when I reached out to him, I think it was a Thursday, he got back to me on Friday, and then he had booked a call through my website, which I don't even have posted anywhere. I think I have it like as a link on my LinkedIn, and he just went to my
Mm-hmm.
website and scheduled a call. I didn't even send him a link or anything. It was kind of odd. So just that personalized outreach to somebody that was in a similar group was fantastic. And I hadn't done that much. I probably should do that more, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
just so busy with the projects right now that I need to start scaling up and possibly hiring someone to help out. But where was I going with that? What was the question again?
The question was, talk a little bit about the results you've gotten and compare them to the 9 to
Oh,
5
okay.
with regards to like the asymmetric leverage.
Yeah. So it's just so asymmetrical. There's no, right now I'm kind of in the feast or famine phase, in the sense that I could get a bunch of jobs if I keep communicating, but I'm not going to be able to fulfill on them. So that's kind of my dilemma right now. It's like, okay, now I could get these jobs. I know how to do that. I don't know how to get these jobs, but then also get the work done and make sure that it's
Mm-hmm.
high quality in a short enough amount of time. I've been trying to hire my friends, but they're like, your business is not stable enough. I'm not, I'm not going to leave my cushy job, take a chance on
Well,
you. So it's
first,
like,
yeah,
all
we'll
right.
discuss it later, but first, friends for later. First, we'll do some other developers, and then,
Yeah, for sure. But
and then we'll get to the
yeah, I
fun.
just think that the biggest thing is that you definitely have a lot more time freedom. It's still not easy though. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
simple, but it's hard work. It's more or less, you have to have some kind of self motivation to keep going. Someone's not just like yelling at you to get stuff done, unless you get a co-founder. So that's maybe
Mm-hmm.
what I should be looking for. But they might yell at me a little bit more. So it's kind of all right. I kind of wait till last minute a little bit sometimes on different parts of different contracts, because I have like 2 or 3 going at once right now, which is a little too much for me. So I kind of hop around a bit. right now. Trying to nail down a single niche instead of being more like an agency right now. So we're trying to just figure it out, and you're helping me along the way. So that's kind of, I think I've asked you over 1,000 questions by now. I think I've asked you the most questions out of anyone in Code to CEO.
Oh, you have. I believe, let me check how many questions. I could check right now, actually. 3,626.
How many?
3,626.
Yo, that's a new record right there.
So I'm
No
pretty
one's
sure
even
that's
close.
I don't think like the second person that comes somewhat close is like 1,800, I think.
There you go.
Like half
Half.
of yours. Yeah, which is crazy to think about. But hey, I mean, the more questions you ask, I mean, the more answers you have, and the further you can go ahead.
I've extracted maximum value from you.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot more questions you can ask too, so keep that in mind.
I know.
Yeah, but I guess let me ask you this: Would you go back to a 9 to 5?
Only if there was some very extreme circumstance where somebody was willing to pay me $1 million a year right now, and if I had a work-life balance.
Okay.
And then I would use that money, to quit next year to be able to hire people and start the business
So
rolling
long
again.
answer, no.
Long answer, no. But if there was like I don't think I can make $1 million by the end of the year. If there was an opportunity like that, I would go for it.
Gotcha. Okay. But in terms of like, you wouldn't trade what you have now for the regular 9 to 5 that you're used to, like even if it's like 200K, let's say, or 300K.
No,
Because
that's not enough.
capped.
I would have to get over $1 million at this point, and that's not even plausible right now in a 9 to 5.
9 to 5. Yeah. Okay. Perfect, Paul. So I guess now tell me a little bit more about Code to CEO itself. What did you think of? I guess let's start with the coaching, the support, and then the community as like the last aspect.
Yeah, the support's been fantastic, but that's why you kind of only have so many people in the program, just because I don't think you have enough time for more. But the course itself was very good. There was probably like 2 or 3 videos that were very eye-opening to me. Kind of one was the mindset shift from employee to business owner, and then there was another one about cold email and how it's kind of just a numbers game at some point because you get more leads. And I've kind of realized that through other channels, because I kind of like to be rogue and just do my own thing, even though I know I have the course as a fallback. But I'm just kind of like, this isn't in the course, but I'm going to do LinkedIn and TikTok. So it's kind of that's the 2 platforms that I liked the most. I have done the email outreach, but I hadn't had a good product to really do the email outreach, because we had done it for the insurance product, which was like my own idea. So it's not really 100% validated. I'm just like, I'm just going to test this out, see how it goes. But just really the time leverage. Yeah, it was actually YouTube. I think it was the in-person thing. What was that called? Mastermind.
Yeah. Your
mastermind that you had with Code to CEO members. Just really like the time leverage of like, oh, the only way that Elon Musk was able to earn this amount of money in a short amount of time was leverage. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah. So leverage time and leveraging other people and just building that business, because you're not going to be able to just do it all on your own. So that's kind of where I want to get to that next phase soon.
Well, we got the 0 to 1, right? So now you're making decent income.
Yeah, 0 to 1 was the hardest part for sure. I'll put it that
100%,
way. That was
100%.
definitely the hardest. But now that kind of gain that knowledge and experience, it's not really that bad. It's not really that scary anymore. Like I said earlier, that's still not easy, but it is simple. It's still a lot of hard work, but
I think it's the best
more
way to describe
rewarding.
It. You just put in the work, you put in the input, you're going to get the output, and now you're at a position where you're clearing multiple 5 figures, and you're going to scale more down the line.
I need to keep up the pace. I need somebody to shake me up every once in a while. I start getting comfortable. I'm like, I made my money this month, so
I mean,
I'm good.
it is difficult. Yeah, like once you're making a certain amount of money, it's difficult to like, "Oh, do I want to make more? Because especially if you're living comfortably, right? You have family, kids, all this stuff. But that's also why I make the videos that I make, and I share some of the, back end footage of stuff that I do, because you guys can see, okay,
Mhm.
there's certain things that money can buy you that you're gonna need a lot of money for to be able to live
Mhm.
that kind of a lifestyle, right? But tell me a little bit about what you thought of the community as well as I guess our one-on-one calls.
Um, from the community standpoint, it has been very good to hear what other people are working on, so you kind of understand pain points in other businesses. A lot of people started getting really busy, so they haven't been joining as much as they had been, myself included. But when everyone's there, it's always a great time to kind of get to catch up with people, learn what they're doing, any pains or problems they ran into, being able to help others along the way, especially since people are in different phases
Mm-hmm.
of growing and starting their businesses. And then the one-on-one coaching has been phenomenal. We have our weekly check-ins. Even though we're going to start spacing them out more now that I'm just very busy and you're very busy, and
Mm-hmm.
but they have been really good. Just being able to review what got done, and obviously it's more intense in the beginning when you're getting started versus now you have a functioning business and you're able to just kind of keep going, not through the motions, but kind of you don't need as many check-ins.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the next phase now. We got past the really hard part, but now it's just it's going to get a little bit easier going forward.
So tell me a little bit about how did everything kind of come together to help you out, and what I'm really trying to get at is what specifically or how specifically did the environment help you succeed when you couldn't alone? What was the most important thing that it provided you?
It kind of provided motivation and almost like an assurance that this is possible and that it's going to work eventually, but you have to put in those hours early on. If you don't put them in, at least in my experience, if you don't put them in, you're not going to get anything out. And that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
was my biggest issue when I first joined way back in like January, February, is that I kind of was working on that other thing, not really working on the business. And then eventually I got into working on the business more, but I was kind of in and out. I had joined like BNI. I was kind of, actually, I hadn't joined BNI yet. I
Not
think I
yet.
joined that after I left my job. And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of when things got really serious, is after I had left my job, because I didn't really have any options after that. So I was kind of all in. And that's when everything changed, is when I had that extra time to really focus on it. And I also had that fire in my butt. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
twofold. I couldn't keep chasing shiny objects. So that was what you always told me early on. It's like, yeah, stop chasing the shiny objects. I'm just like, but I love the shiny objects. I just keep can't help myself sometimes. So it's been more or less figuring out a couple points to focus on instead
Mm-hmm.
of trying to spread myself too thin. Even though I'm kind of being spread a little thin right now, but getting that focus in is really important. And I think that transition happened pretty much after I left the job. So I can't, I don't know what else, because I had tried things when I was at work, but like I said, split attention. Like I had to think about
Mm-hmm.
uh, the 9 to 5. I had to think about meetings that I was in. It was just uh, too much to even like think clearly about the business. Like, oh, who do I need to talk to? What problems do I need to solve? Like that stuff was always put to the end of the day when I was like tired already and the day's pretty shot and didn't have much energy left to really put into the business, where you need a lot of energy in the beginning, I feel like, to make it happen. Or you just have to do a ton more outreach than I did. I don't know. That was just my experience. Maybe other people could do it, but I have kids, I have family, I have home ownership, and I'm just like, I'm done at 5, 6 p.m. I can't do anymore. And that's that.
Well, the good thing is you still did it, right? So people should
Yeah.
really have no excuse if, like you're already busy with family, kids, all this stuff, and you still manage to do it. So there's really no excuse for anybody else.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I guess, what would you tell somebody that wants to join Code to CEO?
Get in here. Really, if you ever wanted to build something of your own, I would definitely try to get into the program, because it's going to help and guide you through the process of building that business and help you get through those really painful points in the beginning, which I think everyone kind of experiences when they're building a business for the first time, because you need to struggle a little bit to get that experience, to get that knowledge gap. There's a huge knowledge gap, because I didn't really understand how business even works. This is recorded, but I got to figure out how to pay my tax now that I'm making more money. It's all new learnings, whereas before you just get your paycheck and your taxes taken right out. No big deal. Everything's kind of handled for you when you're an employee. Now, when you're the owner, you have to handle everything or hire someone to handle it. So it's very different. And you're kind of wearing a lot of hats at the beginning. So I'm trying to take a couple hats off soon and streamline things a bit more. Which reminds me, I have to make some of my SOPs that you had mentioned like 2 weeks ago. I forgot to do.
You gotta do the SOPs. I mean, you're exactly where like John was a few months ago. He had the same exact problem. Except he made the mistake you didn't make. So he took on the projects that he couldn't fulfill.
Yeah, I
didn't. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have to do it. But nevertheless, I mean, yeah, for now you have to make the SOPs. We'll talk about it and then onboard a few people to help you with the extra contracts that you have, and then from there just scale it. And then it gets into already acquisition methods, right? Organic, content, ads, and just scale to the moon however much you want to. Essentially, it's really going to be all up to you. I guess, Paul, if you were to kind of summarize everything in terms of before, after, in terms of you making the decision, rewind time back. Do you make the decision to join?
I definitely still make the decision to join. And the reason being is that I kind of stated before, I do everything for God. So I'm kind of, it's kind of a weird way to say it or explain it. I do everything because of God. God has given me these abilities. He has given me the knowledge and wisdom to build this business, and he kind of placed me he placed your program in front of me at a time that I felt was very pinnacle in my life, because I was kind of really stressed out about what am I gonna do next. Like, I'm not feeling too good about this 9-to-5. Like, I know there's something bigger out there for me. I know that I could build a business. I just don't know how. I need to find somebody that could show me how to do it. And that's definitely what this program is. It shows you how to build a business. People are available to talk to. You're available to talk to. And we're all able to really collaborate and build something great, even though it might be individual. But we're still collaborating by being able to talk to each other and having similar-minded people that all kind of have not the same goal, but similar goals. So that's really what I got out of it, is that this program is allowing me to reach for those higher goals. Whereas before, my highest goal was be the best software engineer in my group. but then also I didn't want to be in management because I didn't want to manage people. So it's kind of, but now I've completely changed in that sense. Like I just want to manage people now and not,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to do sales and I just want to talk to other business owners and try to help them solve their problems. I do like coding though, especially now with the AI agents. It's been
Yeah,
great.
it
Not,
will.
I'm definitely not as good technically now, unfortunately, due to AI agents, but they're kind of like my little busy bees now. So it's great.
Well, it gets the job done, gets you paid, right? End of the day. It reminds me of Sandra when
Yeah.
she joined. She's like, yeah, I don't want to ever do sales. Fast forward, she's like, all I want to do is sales. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
actually, it'll be very interesting for us to talk in about like another 3 or 4 months, see where you're at. We already got our first, well, I guess he's confirmed, he did put it, first confirmed millionaire within, it's been less than a year. So Marco, if you saw it probably, posted it up there.
Hmm.
And I think by the end of the year, we can get Demir there, I'm pretty sure, with
Hmm.
his new offer. And then hopefully you by like, I want to say February or
2027.
no, that's way
February.
before.
No
Yeah,
way.
yeah, you can do
All
February.
right. We're going for it then.
February, March. I think you can do. You can clear that much in revenue because one, you just need to
All
right
right.
now lock in terms of getting your employees to actually help you out, and then you lock in on an offer, and then you just begin. You have the funds now for outreach, so all you do is just you scale the outreach. We'll discuss it, but yeah, I mean we've gotten this year has been really good. Next year is going to be even bigger. You haven't thanked yet to any of the masterminds, so hopefully next year Japan will be your first.
Might have
But
to take the
it's
whole family.
bring them. I mean, bring them. Japan definitely. It's more like a family trip type of place too. But we'll see. Perfect, Paulo. I think outside of that, we'll discuss more like on our one-on-ones. But the main thing I really want to say too for everybody watching this as like a takeaway, I think what Paul said was the perfect segue. It's not easy, but it's simple, and that's really been my point: is to demystify this process that as a software engineer you have to be only coding or you can't talk to people, you can't build a business or whatever the case. That's not necessarily the case. And Paul just explained it beautifully in his own words. And end of the day, yeah, it's not easy, but it is simple. As long as you put in the hours, you have a certain amount of input. Your output is, for lack of a better word, guaranteed to a certain extent, right? Like Paul knew if he does everything that he did, he talked to these individuals, he made a conscious effort to get things done, he was going to see results, and he did. And if there's, I think anybody that wants to take away something from Paul, especially, it's that don't limit yourself to the stereotype of a software engineer because Paul didn't. And another thing that I think you guys already probably heard, Paul asked me the most questions out of everybody in Code to CEO. So about 3,000, like the crazy amount of questions for you guys, like to understand how many questions that is. But the good thing is that the more questions he asked, he still has tens of thousands of questions technically he can still ask because those are only part of the 0 to 1. And then now he has to go from, let's say, 1 to 10 and then 10 to 100. And there's still a bunch of questions he can ask for that. But the point is that I might not emphasize with Paul's journey is he's a perfect example of take life by the horns, put yourself out there, take the risks, break that mold of typical software engineer of stay behind the computer or stay in your room and code and actually go to these events, go to the BNIs, go to the Chamber of Commerce's, talk with people, engage with business owners, pitch yourself as an authority in software, and actually sell whatever it is that you can offer and help people out with. And then from there on, slowly scale. So Paul is a textbook example of doing that. And we did have initially definitely a story to tell. But
Too many stories.
that's for a later time, maybe in
You have
4 months.
to join to hear
Yeah,
them. Otherwise,
if you join, then you'll figure it out. That'll be exclusive to Code to CEO members. But perfect, Paul. Thank you so much for your time.